Okay, so greetings. We're all very comfortable here today, I can see.
Yeah.
That's right. So we just finished the 4-minute walkthrough, and Dan White here's, what was it, grade 12 science? Grade 12 science class today. So shall we just go through the 5-step questions and kind of go through that way and see where our conversation is? So what were the students focused on before they saw me or us?
They were doing independent work on their internal assessment, and they were all genuinely engaged in what they were doing. It was excellent.
Absolutely. And they were engaged, and some working on different tasks, some were working on experiments individually in different areas of the room, and some were working at the lab stations on their laptops, working on a Word document. I would imagine their lab report. So they were doing different activities, but the engagement level was all high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry about the fly.
They all seemed completely focused. Some were collecting data.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some were charting the data. Some were performing the experiment.
Yeah.
Some were. I mean, they were just all where they needed to be. I mean, they knew what they needed to do. I was very impressed. Because oftentimes when we're in an ELL class or what have you, we really need to scaffold and step. Are you at step 1, then you go to step 2, and step 2 to step 3. It's like, boy, if I could somehow get that kind of engagement and scaffolding, even for the younger grades a little bit. So it's like, okay, you're at this step and this step and this step. Like for me, I'm thinking, if I had somehow to even station it out, for the little ones, so you get a little kinesthetic. Can I move from this station to this station? Here's my next step, and here's my next step, and here's my next step.
I think using stations really does help there. I think we've all started using those a lot more regularly.
Yeah.
And I think the kids are starting to enjoy it and getting a lot more out of the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something to think about just for the younger ones. It was all independent. I mean, they were all independently working.
He was available there. Like I saw 1 or 2 people pop up and ask him for clarification on something or ask him something. But they were very much independent in their work.
Mm. Yeah, and definitely, so if that's the cathedral, we're at 12th grade and we're seeing those strong independent working skills, what are we doing in 8th, 9th, and beyond to try to scaffold and build up to that? But it was really strong independent working skills. And the student I spoke to, he was working on a particular experiment or collecting data because he really likes math, and so I'm like, well, why did you choose this particular approach? And he's like, because it's math heavy. So it sounds like they've got differentiated approaches to what they've chosen to collect. At least that would be one example of it, which may have added to the engagement as well, his interest.
How did we know what the students were learning, or how did we? What was the skill, concept, or strategy, or?
How did we know what the students were doing? Well, we asked
learning.
And it was posting.
He told us what they were doing.
Yeah, and it seemed pretty obvious too. I mean, you could see what you could see they were conducting experiments, graphing the data, and then recording. I mean, it was pretty. We could see what they were doing throughout the process. And he did have it up on the board, didn't he?
Yeah. He had an agenda section on a board, grade 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
So. And I think I appreciated that even for a grade 12 classroom, he still had expectations.
Yeah.
But they were in a really cool kind of presentation. Like the pictures, we respect people, spaces, with cool pictures. But I appreciated that he was still kind of, because he only sees the upper grades.
Yeah. And the wording, so he's obviously interacting and engaging his 12th graders because it was kind of like text. It was shorthand.
Oh, on the one up on the wall,
It was like,
be someone who, and then it's like
all these
helps, engages.
And this is high-level content where sometimes it's a very serious environment or very sterile, but this was interactive, I guess, targeted towards teens.
And he had paper ball basketball or something, and I wondered how he uses that.
I've seen them play that before, actually. I think it was just at the start of a class. I was walking past and I saw them, and I was ready to be like, "What are you doing?" And then he was there and he was playing with them, so I was like, "Okay, chill."
the walls were interesting. We're talking about the walls. Is that I loved how to prepare for a test. Did you all see that one? That one is one that I need on every wall in my room for these young ones. How to prepare for a test.
Oh, what was it?
Yeah.
I was like, review your previous work, and I was tempted to take a photo of it, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, we can pop down and ask.
I'm gonna go take a picture of that. I think maybe we can discuss how to do that in terms of our language acquisition or learning. That was the one that impressed me.
Yeah.
It wasn't too. The walls were not gaudy or superfluous. It wasn't. Oh, here's student work. Here's this. Here's that. It was like, here's what you need. This is the unit. It was very simple. It was very straightforward. Here are the criteria. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was, I liked it because, and if you notice, he had the periodic table up like this, so the kids could go up like that and reference it. It's like, what a great idea to, because if the kids are looking around like this and this for what's a simile, right above, I could, make. I mean, I really like that, because, oftentimes with technology and what have you, how do you celebrate a work that's been published, but there was celebration. See, when I was hanging out outside, I noticed his board. And his board was simple and to the point. They got a 7. Boom, send him a message. And he took pictures of the guys that he sent, but he also had a most improved section as well with a photo of those students as well.
Yeah.
I really like that. It's celebratory. It's simple, though. It doesn't take a lot of work, but it means a lot to the kids. There wasn't... It wasn't like the matted format of the report and the scores and the rubrics and whatever. It was, the idea of here's your level I don't necessarily like, but
most important.
But it's give or take for for that. But I mean, the most improved, and these guys knocked it out of the park, and they should celebrate that. And they should be recognized for it, even though we are just recognizing a level. But hey. At grade 12, a level means a lot more.
I was going to say, plus a level does sometimes represent like how much work you've put into it and your understanding of the content. And I mean, I do appreciate that they have like a most improved section. Yeah. And I think that's really important to recognise the kids that are working really hard. And I do know that there are those who work hard and just still aren't getting the higher grades. But I don't see a problem with celebrating the ones that are succeeding really well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that could be something we could develop in our department, perhaps.
One thing I saw I really liked were the units were posted out. So this unit 4 I'm particularly thinking of. And a lot of times in our classrooms we'll have the unit plan there. It's kind of like the MYP format, pretty much like the atlas printed out and slapped on the wall. And his essential question was, can we see hydrogen's bonding? Like, that's a scientific question, but then he has an image of like Michael Phelps in the water, and the water is like morphed, and you literally, someone had taken a picture where you're zooming in and you're seeing like the hydrogen's bonding, and I'm like, I wouldn't have even known what that was, and immediately I would think and engage someone in that particular unit. So these questions, how do you make them visual? How do you make them more than just a statement written out in words? And he found a way to do that, and I want to try to figure out how to do that for the classes I'm working in. Just one image that you look at and you immediately begin thinking about these bigger questions. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
I know in the design classrooms they've got lots of visuals in there with the words that they need for their summatives. They've all got visual representations of it, and it looks amazing in Matt McEwen's class.
Okay,
really
I'll
good.
take a look.
I'll
take a look at that.
When kids ask me the meaning of words, I've started to send them to Google Image, because I find that if they see a picture of it, then a lot of the time it'll resonate. Like we were doing something, the rancher, this is one of the sentences, the rancher moved the cattle to the pasture. And they were like, who the what? Yes. And I was like, okay, let's type in rancher. And like the picture popped up and they were like, oh, a cowboy, oh, a farmer. And I was like, exactly. The cattle, oh, it's cows. Yeah, exactly. The pasture, oh, it's a field. I was like, boom, there we go.
Right,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I agree, the images are a really powerful way of getting that. Okay.
Health and safety.
Is that good?
Health and safety. I mean, boy, talk about. I mean, It's a room full of fire and water and chemicals, and there wasn't a second that I sat there and felt nervous. Or I mean, they knew how to set up this. You can tell that they know the procedures.
They've been
you
trained
can
really
tell
well.
that they know that this belongs here, and my computer is to the. You notice that their computer was distanced from the experiment, and I mean, boy, I mean that was.
They were wearing the protective lab coats. They had the goggles. They were wearing gloves if they were working
using
with something.
utensils or tools.
They were safer than we were walking through that place. I'm telling you. It was well lit. Well,
ventilated.
Any other comments? Other than he's awesome.
I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, nice experience. All right.
That's all we have for you for today. Until next time.
Join us next time.
Join us next time.
Back place.
Still recording, even though.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.